Good morning, folks. It's 9:07 a.m. on the 13th day, 4th month, 2024. And what we're looking at here is a big slopping mess of a low-pressure system parked over in the Coral Sea that is being used to sell climate chaos in the people's minds of the world, telling you about an El Nino suddenly forming like it's an on-off switch that can happen. Nah, that's I guess what they call these big beams that are coming across the world. Because it's almost like they foreshadowed the beam that would be required to make an El Nino type effect across the equatorial boundaries of moisture bands on the planet. So, fears grow, fear grows, fear sells. April 11th, fears grow. Well, you know what? Get off your knees and grow. I know what I just did. This big old square system out here, EMF boundary lines all around it, making the basic square required to capture a whole bunch of motion. Run it up against the wall so it has to spin when it backs up against it. Okay, so, there's no cyclone there. There's your 11th. There's your 12th. They say, sorry. No soup for you. It'll be over here. This side. So it was the one we had before. There's nothing here. There's nothing. There's nothing. When I click on the CIMS to see, to verify whether the news is lying to me or not, and I go over and hit the tropical cyclone page, it's just a low pressure system. It's just a depression. Why is it a depression? Because people got so freaking scared up that they were all depressed. That's the only depression I see. It's a low out there, but there's nothing going on. I said conditions are right for the formation of cyclonic systems. You know what defines a cyclone? Direction of flow. You know what makes a tropical depression? The wind strength of that flow. You know what? And the same for when you look at hurricanes, right? It's the same. And there's a thing called the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale. And this is what determines the categories of everything. And you've got a depression, tropical depression, only kicking 38-mile-an-hour winds. You can't tell me you have a tropical storm even, right? And to be able to say tropical cyclone, you have got to reach 74 miles an hour wind. 73 don't count. We don't give an extra mile an hour. We want the facts, and the fact, Jack, is you never had a tropical cyclone. So far, this year, nearly, to impact the shores. One went over a little island offshore and produced a wind high enough to be called something. But even Jasper, I never recorded a wind over 63 miles an hour, sustained wind. Wind gusts don't count. It has to be sustained winds, as it means continuous, like blowing over in the house over here. It just continues to blow, so it stays that way. So I'm not seeing it. I never saw it, and you've been lied to. Now, when I went out there during the brief moment that it achieved tropical storm status, I was able to catch a mimic of this. And so, have a look. And the aimings and the makings. Watch, this is probably the only data of this that's going to exist. Because I pay attention to things. I'm always watching to see where they're going to turn the whopper chopper over here and to push things around. Yeah, there's the whopper chopper again. Isn't that what the Flintstones called their little whirligig thing? The whopper chopper. I don't know. Oh, Fred Sanford called that thing that chops vegetables. Yeah, the mandolin. The thing that cuts all your fingers and knuckles there. The almost unsafe thing in the kitchen. Beside the chef in a bad mood. All right, here we go. So you got a ship parked here, beam in two directions. That's easy enough to do. One of those Chinese ships got 4 of them. Big ass dishes on them, Bad, big ass dish. They're breaking out the bads. As soon as they clear them islands, she's free to flow. Look at these waveforms here on the tap. Busting in. See if I can get a screenshot of that particular point of action there and do a zoom bit so I can point it out. Right here. Oh, I got a gilt. I've got a pulsation going on. Okay, so let's look at this pulsation, because pulsations matter. Pulsations cause frequency. How often you pulse something is its frequency. Now that's not quite what I was after. I want the screenshot. Come in. Here we go. Right, we got it right here. With the rays pointing in. I know some of this is going to be pixels from the screens, but when you make straight lines and edges that add up to pointing, trapezoid, trapezoid, and the beam master, the ship is right here. Right there, at that particular moment in time, that's where it was. Time is on your side. Yeah, it just didn't occur. It just wasn't happening. You've been lied to, right? There was none. It never was. Never, ever was. But you know what is weather is today. Look at this clobber over here popping all these bombs over to New Zealand, sustaining, you know, this storm. It is not around circulation. You have a square in the center here. And then you have another square with this offset slightly, so the turret of one grabs the corner, viscously turning it, and there'll be one here, here, and here doing the same thing, leaving gaps for airflow to occur and bombs that cause either hot and cold catalyzing into other chemicals, of which we all deserve an honest answer to what the hell is in our sky. We deserve an honest answer to what's in our milk. We deserve an honest answer to every question we ask. That something that we're going to put in our bodies, and we must put air in our body whether we like it or not. You can't just say, I'm going to fast today and not breathe. That ain't going to last very long. It'll be a very slow fast. Well, like a little footprint right here. The footprint of the geoengineer. Go, Tar Heels. Gain of function for the sky much? That would be NC State University. They started farming many physical scientists. Yeah, I mean, that's the evil triangle instead of the research triangle, I'd call it. Research triangle part. Look at they pepping this chem bomb off over here in the center, keeping this thing going. It'd be like if you would tie to something ahead, like a balloons, two of them, one, and then put straws, and you aim the ends in the opposite direction and put it on a pivot point. When you let the air out, it would start to spin, wouldn't it? Try how do you explain colors to the blind or sound to the deaf? Vibration. All you can explain is vibration. Vibe up the skies, man. I don't think we're going to be able to pray this one away. We've been trying too long. Okay, so if it is time, sharpen your minds, which is your ultimate sword. When you lose that sword, you'll never know. So use it before you lose it. Squares. Look, bomb fields right here. Here, pluming. There, pluming. There, pluming. Boom, 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 boom. Shape charges, explosions, you know. So like they use in mining, or they use sometimes to cut steel beams of large buildings. 9/11, they lied to you all. Building 7, ruled by court to be not an act of terrorism. Controlled demolition and lie much, Mr. Bush? You're a lying sack of shit, George Bush. Since when has a politician not lied to you? Why the hell would anybody be allowed back in office that agreed to have us all locked down, put masks on, and walk around? Every one of them rascals down to the lowest level of government in your town needs to be, no, I'm sorry, you ain't running. You're going to lose. Because we remember, and you're fired. Have a no-job moment and see how you like it. And Ed, look at the center of circle jerculation here. Boy, are you the pivot point there. Would you think there's a ship or something deploying right here in the front, and then one right there in the front, and one right there? And could those ones in the front be causing these odd fronts we're getting? When winter comes in summer and summer comes to winter, that's Noah Rohar mine. You see what I did there? How is that for the big square? Huh? Hey, we're not immune to geoengineer. What, you got a big baseball field out here, Gordon? Yeah, well, who's on first? WHO. And it's time to, hey, and they're trying to steal home instead of going around the other bases even. They're going that the who was here and first, they'd be trying to come here to get home and forgetting about the safety steps all along the way that should be taken to get that grand slam. But to them, the grand slam is a grand slam of profit in their wallet, a grand slam of people sick in the hospital, a grand slam of sell, 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 make them have it. Fascism, forced product of the state upon a people to make you pay for it. Fascism, cut and dry. Look at the bottom right here, because this is as far as I can zoom what's going on here. How about that? Do you see it now? Are we running? Oh yes, I think so. Here, the beam. I'll get that. And I'll show you what it's going to do and how it's going to affect the flow of polar moisture in both hemispheres differently than the other. Yeah. Those beams went up over the ice wall, man. Would that start a war with the other side? I gotta point it out to you. I'm trying to describe what's to the blind here. And geoengineering proves a lot of things. About shape, about dynamics. Look at these. They're almost like lasers and popping. Not necessarily bombs. There's many methods. No, that's going over the top. But that one on the deck on the bottom could be lased from underneath. These are bombs, and those look like laser pops, creating false streak outs. Look at that. Perfect unison around that spread. Maybe it is a chem deployment. That's an oddball. Oddballs. Now, let's get to lion-ass Grafton. Alright? You see a bunch of clouds around here at all? Do you see a whole shitload of clouds around here at all? Grafton. Now, I go over here to Grafton's feet. Yeah, it looks like you're having a storm from the past coming up here with all these nucleations. Well, all that would tell me is that they're lying and they've turned it off and they're just running a feed from the past, because those clouds do not exist there. I went and looked at the traffic cameras. So, BOM, it's time for you to turn in your charter so that people can rip it up. You are lying sacks of shit, and you lie about even having a cyclone that don't go at the speed of a cyclone, because you meteorologists forgot your most basic piece of information, the Saffir-Simpson scale. Don't you tell me your credential means anything when your credential is just a fucking license to lie, and all this is a lie. That's not going on. And the people that live there might get up and feel very scared to see that. What if they didn't have any other information? What if they didn't go to SatView and verify the law? And that was as of 8 o'clock this morning, hour and 20 minutes ago. Right? That area is devoid of clouds. It just is. So they're lying. And from one source to another source to another source, I'm calling them out. They're a fucking bunch of liars. Now let's have a look at this beam that occurred. At 1 o'clock in the morning in England, and on the 4th month, 12th day, we had the big ass beam, the big one. And I'm going to roll it, and it's going to have an effect, because any moisture moving along this direction is going to have a tendency to dip down. This is a wind that's rushing out. This is coming this direction. It's going to have a tendency to cut down into this corridor here. This is going to shove itself out. All air in between here and here will come across Antarctica and hit this scoop down here. Now the scoop cut is going to show up pretty good here on this image I took when I go down here. Any of the cold air, and this will be the pole at 30 degrees. This is the prime meridian to the South Pole right here. The ice cube detector that people talk about is over here. There are a bunch of Chinese and other countries have bases with the capability of being the receiver and of a large big ass beam. We could crack the big ass beam. And the reverberating pulsations between these pulses here are not good. And it'll have cut the electrolink, and where it left the planet was right about here, and then lased the part of the sky and sent some of the signal back down. But once it hit the magnetic magnetosphere tendrils that protect the planet, they'll tend to light them up too. And why are they all squares like they're communicating? I do wonder sometimes if it's a type of communication we haven't understood yet. Look at these lines in the different layers of the atmosphere that nucleated condensates very suddenly. Now this is my still image of it, because it's important you know. Now all this in here has a free out. The pressure from this has been compressed, and then woo, the rush over, it'll tend to cause cold air to come down through over around here and bring a cold batch in towards Scotland, making their weather extremely volatile. Extremely volatile. Yeah, it's mighty twisted there. This is a concern. There's a lot of walking momentum, and certain shapes will generate electrical flow. Like people that bend certain copper coils, you can make free energy electric generators out of the air with certain shaped ones, like that three twist one that I just can't off the top of my head remember what it's called. Okay, so I'll just say I can't remember what it's called, but somebody else will, and will be beautifully typing it in as a comment. So we all will learn. So I'm really going to go over this beam. And I'm going to, forecast-wise, New Zealand, you're looking at about another 24, 36 hours for this thing to fuck off. Now look at the curves here. All right, the best way to do it is for me to screenshot go. Screenshot and go. Hello, you. Right. Look at the pulse. Boom, 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 boom. This is the frequency. Measure the gap and you'll know what waveform they used as far as hertz. They lift the planet about here. That one. Just get a little bit of a tickle in the tendril. Didn't light up fully because it left the planet late. If it had left it about here, it had lit up all the way south. Now this one, let's have a look. Yeah, this is why Taiwan's getting some more quakes. But to have a quake that's as large as or bigger than the initial quake in an area that has had a large quake is statistically a possibility. And so I've been expecting to see some very big aftershocks there. We've finally seen one. A few of them hit last night in the 6s. See all those V's pointing at a spot? They've got a ship here. It's Ptolemy. And I'd love to know the code of this, because this looks like bits and bytes, computer language. It's very alien, like the stuff you'd see stamped on an Area 51 wreckage piece that they say was a weather balloon. Golly, if we've been lied to. Our whole lives is just one big Truman Show Manhattan project going on. Bzz, bzz. See the pulsations in these? I don't teach you guys how to read them. I do not see Xmas having done this. Yeah, the line is wrong. Ships at sea, blasting me. Bzz. The pulsator. So now let's see it in motion again. Let's do that bit that we do well. What do? We show what we see. We do our determinants. If we're not sure, we say so. So somebody who is sure will tell us something that we can then check and see if we're sure. Does it, ooh, that pay in that direction real hard. It went really hard. That was a big swipe. Look at the west-east motion on this. 16. 7. So each one of these bumps is one error. They heated up the mass of air and then slung it. That's the sling. They slanging, just a slinging. Yeah, I got my own terms for things because, well, the official meteorology people that tell you there's a cyclone and forget about the Saffir-Simpson scale, that makes all their information beyond questionable. See this second one coming under that one? They heated the atmosphere, and the heated outflow, even pushing hot air down to low deck, they could then go wham and then send the outflow this direction, which will send some heated air into this tendril here. It's going to make the weather not so nice at the being over there on the Emerald Isle. Yep, no more funny gal in Daddy Gal. Look at this here. Would you look at the gilt? The ice cube detector is here. Do you see any nucleations pointing at it? Everybody, oh God, it was the earthquake machine. Hey, I see no evidence of the deployment, but I know that other countries also have neutrino detectors that can do the same kind of a pulse. Oh, Robert. Yep, that's a fact. Wonder where your big storms came from yesterday. Look at this straight line through here. A big interference patterns. That's quake area. That's just how it rolls. So that's what I got to say about that beam. And so in between here, the cold air is going to start to come down. Probably just to bring in some of that, summertime, you know. And while all your fruits are flowering, you know, just deflower them with a big old frost. Yeah, so that's going to cause a lot of problems. So I'm gonna click that down now, and I'm gonna try and roll through some of what's to be expected today. Bzzzt. Getting fried, New World Order style. Getting lied to on your radar, typical for the Bureau of Morons. That is a lie. That is not what's happening. That's why I say, if you think you could just roll windy and give a forecast, go ahead. I'll let you do it. But you can't. So I don't, so I won't. Right, let's see what the winds are currently up here in this low. We'll be right about here. 18 miles an hour. They're calling that a gale. They're calling this a gale. It'll fuck out of here. Well, that one's getting up near. If we look at this for Simpson scale, the door determines until you learn this shit. It's below 38. It's not even a tropical storm. You know what it is? It's a fucking winds you up, keep you feeling sick and not at ease to go out and enjoy your days. The line between where I'm pointing here is extremely volatile because the back and forth motion between, I'll just have to have this here, but this trying to equalize the net is tugging a huge high behind it here, and that's basically closed off. The beam that came down has a scoop through here. See that line there? So this has more of a tendency to slow down and then feed this stuff that's going to bring winter-timey things up through the mountains here. Make your skiing be good and fun. Yeah, bring up the cold, drop down the hot and moist, and you have the volatile conditions. This is not very conducive for the formation of an organized tropical cyclone anytime soon. But you will get lows spitting out every time the pressure from up here crushes the equator because of that big-ass beam shoving it. El Nino in your ass, telling El Grande Lio to you, because people that have these degrees must have degrees in other things. Like lies. Yep. Then as the low continues over the top in New Zealand today with only a pressure of around, hovering over around 1,000, which is not super duper low. The only thing fueling it is a pressure over to the east at 1035. So you're getting the same drop that you would have if you'd have had like a really low storm in an old day. You would see the 940s pulling on even a pressure at sea level would make it roar. But now they're just keeping the pressure differences make the same type effects. It's just control with heaters. And what they put the big heater on you guys, that big blaster. See it come over, and out to sea she goes, yay, yay, rah, rah, sis, boom, bah. Bugs Bunny, rah, rah, rah. We all got be wascally these days. Why? Because it's like we got a teenager. And the teenager is the government. And we're going to assume they're going to lie to go somewhere on Saturday night. And Saturday night's every night. And they want you to pay for their night out. That's what I feel like. So if I go to some of the totals that I'm seeing here, it's a new setup. I got to find it. Rain accumulations. Rain coming. Not much left. That's a little too low. I was expecting about 5 right around here and here, 5 centimeters, because there's still a lot of wind, there's a lot of momentum, there's a lot of water, and this is over the next 3 days. See, then Squanto, and then Rut Road, they're moving something over from Ez. Same with us over here. Enjoy the day, enjoy the 3 days, a little bit of shower started popping, and then, well, Rob's gonna go visit some people, so let's get them really wet. Yeah, so we'll be watching what system it is, but this isn't a cyclone. You know what a cyclone is? It is just directional flow, actually. A cyclonic flow towards the rising sun. Anticyclone, that direction in this hemisphere, that is all. And that determines. So when I say a cyclonic system, I mean it's turning that direction. So you'll know it's pumping from here, stuff into there. And the high pressure will be anticyclonic. So it's bringing it that way to that way. So you can start to read pressure maps. So we're just starting to show some tickles of an event here, which I'm not really going to get into today. But up here near, this is going to happen. Well, you got about I think it's about 24 hours for some of your rain start. Kansas is going to turn its radar on, put a beam down this direction here to pin the ocean flow over here to drop another load right on my beautiful town of Innisfails. It never fails. When they want to flood the streams and fast roll the water out to sea, this is what's on its way. And so we'll be watching for this, and we got lots of time till that comes. Right? There is no cyclone, okay? You've been lied to. There's no huge totals showing on the 10s as of yet. Expect the totals here to rise as all that flow is coming in that direction. And what did the beam do? It backed up the river right along this line. And the weather plan's showing it. New snows. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I gotta go to the Mars. Yeah, just the typical through the higher lands of New Zealand up and through here. But so far, so good. You guys stay safe, you know, because when they can turn a fryer on like this, which one you want to see? You know, when they're blasting you like that, right over the top of creatures out here in the waters, that their navigation is going to be thrown off, or you might feel it not at ease at all, because we know that's swept in that direction, blocking the flow of that, and that shock wave is going to go through all the mantle through here as they manipulate these rivers of moisture, and as they move stuff around, telling you it's an El Nino. You see the evidence of the beam here, in between the two. It's a pinner. It pins this flow. That assures it went down. And I imagine the people in Hawaii ain't feeling too good inside when these shock waves go across the Pacific, doing the ricochet rabbit on you. Well, it's bing, bing, bing chime. And we're going to stop this somehow. But this is what's going on. You got a lot of chem deployment, so toxic air is floating down. Big love. Stay safe. There is no cyclone. Peace.